Spiders, snakes, ghosts, scary movies, your grandma's spiky chin hairs. These are all just a few things that people are scared of. While there are many common phobias out there, have you ever stopped to realize that there are some phobias out there that we just haven't really heard of? Today, I'm going to take you into the brain science behind phobias, how they form, and 6 phobias you never even knew existed. Ooh, I'm getting goosebumps just thinking about it. Some of you may be wondering, what are phobias? A phobia is an overwhelming and unreasonable fear of an object or situation that poses little real danger but provokes anxiety and avoidance. I remember a time in 6th grade where I threw up in my classmate's backpack because I was terrified about getting up in front of the school for the yearly speech meet. But it still haunts me. It's so embarrassing. But that kind of brief anxiety that I felt in 6th grade, or the brief anxiety that you have before a big job interview, a big event, or even a romantic date by the beach, is not the same kind of anxiety that is felt by someone who has legitimate phobia. A phobia causes intense and long-lasting physical and psychological reactions, which can affect one's well-being in their day-to-day life in social settings. Disclaimer, phobias are real, and you should never make fun of someone who says they have a legitimate phobia. So how do phobias form? Phobias can be formed from a variety of factors in an individual's life, but it is thought that 3 major factors influence how a phobia is formed: genetics, cultural factors, and behavioral and environmental factors. It is shown that phobias are possibly transferred from a parent to a child. It's possible that even twins who didn't grow up together may develop the same phobia. Talk about twin telepathy. I wonder if those scary twins in The Shining have the same phobia. But probably not, because they're dead anyways, right? At the same time, it is also possible for an individual with a phobia to have no relatives with the same condition. Cultural factors also come into play in the development of phobias. In certain cultural contexts, it may be more common for an individual with a phobia to be personally embarrassed or humiliated in social situations. For example, there's a specific phobia in Japan called Tajin Kyofusho. It's a social phobia of offending or harming others in social settings. Lastly, behavioral and environmental factors can impact the development of a phobia. Many phobias stem from real events that may or may not have occurred in a person's childhood. As far as behavioral factors go, social phobias can stem from the awkwardness of our teenage years or even teen bullying. So, what are the most bizarre and obscure phobias that exist out there? Oh, saw you blink. Coming in at number 1 is optophobia, the fear of opening one's eyes. To say that this phobia takes the first place for being the most inconvenient would be an understatement. We all walk around with our eyes open every day to watch out for danger, to stare at the hottie of our dreams, so awkward, and to even enjoy a beautiful nice sunset stroll. Little did we know that we really take this for granted. A simple thing that we put no thought into can seem like a horrific nightmare for someone suffering from optophobia. Looks like we won't be having any stare-offs with these people, for the better. Now, we all have that uncle that shows up to family functions and holiday parties and drinks way too much and talks about all the wrong things. And then you wonder, wait, how am I related to you? You dread every time your uncle has to show up to your house. But there are some people who have a legitimate fear of one's own relatives, and it's called geniophobia. Individuals with this phobia may experience panic attacks around triggered individuals and will actually avoid family events and functions at all costs. As of now, there are no specific known causes for geniophobia, but psychologists say that a family history of mental illness can increase one's chances of developing this phobia. You know what sounds really good right now? A good old-fashioned PB&J. Maybe we should hold off on this one until we finish our next phobia. Coming in hot at number 3 is rachibutrophobia, the fear of peanut butter sticking to the roof of your mouth. Now, I don't know what gets more stuck on my tongue, the peanut butter or the specific name of that phobia. Now that's a nutty one. This may seem like an obscure phobia to have, considering that peanut butter is in our everyday snacks. While peanut butter is definitely not an essential ingredient to supplement our appetites, there are many health benefits of peanut butter that these phobia sufferers are missing out on. Peanut butter is rich in antioxidants, vitamins, and minerals, as well as wards off heart disease and some cancers. But hey, power to the people. I never really liked the feeling of peanut butter sticking in my mouth anyways. Chin chimmery, chin chimmery, chin chin charoo. No, this next phobia is not a fear of Mary Poppins. But quite weirdly, our fourth obscure phobia is something that we overlook in our everyday lives. At number 4, we got geniophobia, the fear of chins. Yes, I'm talking about that weird bump/flab at the bottom of your face. People with this phobia have an irrational fear of chins, and it's thought that it could be exacerbated by self-image issues. Now just imagine someone with this phobia in front of Jabba the Hutt. That would be a frightening sight. No thanks. Now that I think about it, chins are kind of weird. Ha 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 ha. These people next on our list may not have the last laugh. Coming in at number 5 is jellyophobia, the fear of laughter. Now, I know this phobia sounds very similar to our previous phobia, but it offers very different threats. Most people who experience this phobia have an irrational fear of being laughed at by others or laughing in inappropriate situations. In 1996, Dr. Michael Tietze found that most of his patients suffering with this phobia had a primary concern of being laughed at. They would scan their environments for laughter and ridicule. Interesting enough, the doctor found a specific movement pattern exhibited by his patients when they thought they were being laughed at. An unusual, stiff, awkward, almost wooden-like movement that he deemed the Pinocchio syndrome. Stand-up comedy may not be the ideal first date with these folks. So like, Becky told Chris that he was hanging out with Janelle? Like, WTF? In all seriousness, we all know those people that cannot live without their mobile phone coverage, whether it be those content 4Gers or those swanky 5Gers. But our last and final phobia sufferers may not be happy getting a delayed text or Instagram notification. Coming in last at number 6 is nomophobia, the fear of being without mobile phone coverage. In case you were wondering, like, WTF? This is a real phobia. Individuals who suffer with this phobia have a legitimate fear of losing mobile coverage, mobile battery, or even losing sight of their phone. Nomophobia is especially prevalent among younger populations, and as of 2019, 1 in 4 children had problematic smartphone use. So it wouldn't be a surprise if we see higher rates of nomophobia in the future. It's interesting to think that this phobia didn't even exist until the invention of smartphones. So who knows what kind of crazy obscure phobias will pop up in the future. Thank you for watching this episode of Knowledge Dump. Like and subscribe, and as always, we believe in you.